So I was like, great, so now I have to literally start from scratch. Everything. Hello. Before I even get into all of this, I always freeze up when I press record. Not having it recording, I can talk to myself quite easily. And then as soon as I press record, I feel so awkward. Okay, so basically the last like 3 weeks or so, it's just been a little bit chaotic because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start my YouTube channel, I'm gonna start filming videos, getting all these plans together. Nothing ever goes to plan, does it? So first of all, this is the 3rd camera I have now purchased. I've returned the other ones, and I'm now also on my 4th microphone. It's just been issue after issue after issue. Basically, I had these plans of the type of video I was going to do, and I had it like all scripted out and ready and planned, and then I turned the camera on and I completely froze and I felt really awkward. It just felt really fake because obviously I'm not used to talking to a camera, and so I just couldn't do it. I couldn't be like, oh hi, welcome to my channel. Eventually I might be able to do that, but right now, you know, it's a normal person looking like an idiot in front of the camera. So I've decided to just throw caution to the wind. I feel stressed out already and I haven't even done anything. I guess I could just have a little rant. So I wanted to like start the whole YouTube thing and like film my videos for my like hair dyeing and my crocheting and whatnot. I bought a camcorder and these like lavalier microphone things. This is the mistake that I made multiple times. I had to make the mistake a few times to learn from it. I didn't buy like named brands when it came to like the technology that I was buying, like the cameras, the microphones and the external hard drive. I've had issues with all of those things over the past 3 weeks. The first camera, the first microphones, it wasn't, so the microphone, when it was connecting to the camcorder, it would work only on certain settings, which is fine, but when it did work, it would have this white noise, this like high-pitched long beep sound throughout the whole thing. So I was like, well, I can't use that. So then I was like, okay, well, let me try and use my phone, because so many people have said that you can just film on your phone, and you know, audio is what matters. So I was like, okay, cool, let me try. I have an old phone. It's almost, I've had my phone for nearly 6 years now. It's fine, like I don't need to buy a new one. I don't want to buy a new one until I need to. I'm not gonna buy a whole new phone just for the like filming aspects. So the issues that I had with my phone, the external microphone wouldn't pick up on the camera, like the normal phone camera app. My phone would know that there was something connected, but it wouldn't pick up any sound. I was like, okay, fine. So I did a bit of looking online, and then it was like, okay, so you need to download the Open Camera app. So I did that. Bear in mind, this is like multiple tries on multiple different settings on like camera, phone, microphones, like trying all of these different ways with different like adapters, etc. So it got a bit frustrating when it just wasn't working each time. So the issue that I was having with my phone was that, yeah, I needed to use an app. And I was like, fine, okay, cool, let's try this out. And I got it working, and the sound was great, and I was like, yes, use the camera app, the Open Camera app. What it will do is it will automatically stop recording when it reaches a certain like file size, which when I was looking at the videos that it did have, it was usually stopping at like around 750 megabits, and they were all stopping at like 5 minutes. And the settings were set to automatically restart each time it would stop. It didn't restart, and I wouldn't know. I would not notice each time it stopped. So there's like a 5-minute video, don't know how long, of me just talking to myself to nobody, and then 5-minute video. I'd have to keep an eye on like it recording, so like I didn't know it had stopped recording because I wasn't constantly watching myself. I had like it up on a monitor, but I wasn't constantly like, you know, looking at myself. So there would be times where it would have stopped recording and I didn't realise, and I would just be talking willy-nilly. and then I'd have to manually set it again, like start it again. And a lot of the times it would either stop recording, or I'd realise it stopped recording like halfway through a sentence, and then I've got to like set everything up again. I mean, I say set everything up again, and then I've got to like press play or like record again. But then I've lost my train of thought, and I don't know what I was talking about. I don't know how much has been like covered. So that was frustrating. When I also then went to look at the footage and I moved it over onto my MacBook, some of the files were not readable. Just weren't readable. Like it would actually come up on my Mac. My Mac would be like, oh, this file type is not supported. They were all the exact same file type. They were all pretty much the exact same size. Nothing was different, but for some reason it was just like, no, I don't like this one. So I had like all of these 5-minute videos doing this. This is what I was doing. It was this whole thing, and talking about, I can't remember what I was talking about. I think it was the plan of, it was the fact I had these plans and then they weren't working out. And then half of the clips just weren't usable, or like you couldn't watch them. And then obviously the others are just jumpy because it's like 5 minutes just here and there. So then I was like, okay, fine. Clearly the phone is not the way to go. I'll buy a new camera. So I returned the other one and I got another camera, and I made the same mistake with the named brand. So it was like a newer, slightly higher spec one, but it was still like cheap. And the issue that I had, so the whole phone thing wasn't working. So then I bought different microphones. No, that was it. I bought different microphones first to see if they would work with that camera. Didn't. So then I tried my phone. That then had the issue. So then I thought, okay. I decided in the end with this new camera, I was like, okay, do you know what? Maybe it's the fact that I'm not using named brands. So, oh God, I'm so stressed. Maybe I should have planned this out. Maybe I should have written like bullet points. Because my brain is everywhere. I'm all over the place. Right, hang on. I can't remember what I was saying. So I got this new camera. I was really excited for this new camera, and I tried out, like, at this point I had 3 microphones. Currently have 3 different microphones, and none of them worked. And I felt so deflated. And like, bearing in mind I had like all these little clips of each time that I was like testing everything out, and I felt so, yeah, I just felt so deflated, and I was really frustrated because I was like, okay, I'm literally a complete beginner starting this, just seeing how it goes. Like, I don't want to spend loads of money on all this equipment on something that I might not even be good at. Well, I know I'm not going to be good at it, but I might not even like it, you know. The cameras that I'd bought so far, I'd spent, the first one was I think about 60 quid. The second one was £100. I got 20% off, so I got it for 80. And I was looking online everywhere, and I was just like, I can't like spend all this money on all these things. And the microphones I'd bought was like 20 quid. I have a wired one, and that was like 8, and that works fine. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get rid of it because I know it works fine with my phone. So I thought, okay, maybe I do need to push the boat out a little bit and actually spend a marginally larger amount of money. So I bought the Rode microphone. I can't remember now. It was like 40 or 50 quid. And I thought, right, it's gonna, like, that's it. I've bought this branded one. It's got really good reviews. Everyone swears by it. Everyone recommends it. Didn't work. And that was when I realised, I was like, okay, it's not the microphone, it's the camera. It's definitely the camera. So I was looking all online, and again, I was like so frustrated because I thought, I don't want to spend all this money. It was just outside of my budget, like starter budget. And I was like, I don't want to spend like 500 quid on a camera, and it just seemed like a big kind of risk. And I don't have that kind of money, like, just to throw around. Like, that wasn't my plan going into this, was, you know, like, eventually, once I've sort of got the knack for it and whatnot, then yeah, I might upgrade some of my equipment and spend a little bit more money on it, but not to like literally begin with. So I just felt so annoyed because I was like, I don't want to spend £500 on something. Like, that wasn't my plan. But I returned other camera, and I did buy an expensive camera. I managed to buy it a little bit cheaper, but it's still really expensive. And it came today. And it works. But this wasn't going to be my first video. I obviously had this other footage of like the process of trying out these other cameras and like the difficulties that I was having with like setting everything up and trying to figure everything out. And then also I was started to film just normal videos on my phone, like with no microphone or anything, but it was just me driving to work, and it was so that I could get comfortable and like more used to talking to a camera. And I thought, okay, well, I need to figure out how to edit. I have these clips. I will need to get an external hard drive because my Mac is also very old. It doesn't have a lot of storage on there. I'm saving up for a new one. I've had it for like 8 years, and I am saving up to get a new laptop. And I used some of that money to get the camera, so that's the sort of sacrifice I made. So it just means that I've got to wait a bit longer now before I can get a new laptop. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it at the moment. It's working. Oh, I don't want to jinx it by saying that though. So I was like, okay, I need to get an external hard drive. So bought an external hard drive. Didn't learn from my mistakes. It got a no-named one, but I thought it's like almost half the price of the others, and it was like a 2 terabyte one. And I put all of the videos that I had recorded so far like on from my phone, because again I had no storage on my phone either. Like filming those videos just chewed up my storage, and again it's an older phone. It's only got 128 gigabytes on that phone, and I only had like 30 left or something. So I put the clips, the videos from my phone onto the external hard drive, and I put the clips from the cameras that I'd like moved over, I put them on the external hard drive, and they all moved over. Brilliant. Great. So I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I need to get used to editing. So now that I've got all my camera and stuff, I can start trying to like film stuff. And then in the meantime, I've just got some clips already that I can practice editing and learn with editing. And hopefully like my first video will be just me talking about the process of trying to start and the issues I had with the technology and the things like, and just silly clips of me, you know, just stupid stuff. Like no one's probably going to watch it anyway. I went to do that today. I've got the camera. I saw that the camera with the microphone is working, and I was like, yes, so excited. I went to open the hard drive and move the one video that I put on here on to that hard drive, so then I could then put them all together. They all disappeared. I had 20 gigabytes worth of videos. I think it added up to probably around like at least 2 hours worth of footage, and it was all gone. Everything. So I had a nap instead. I was so annoyed. Like I don't know, I was annoyed, but I was also like, oh God, you know, when it's just like one thing after another. I was like, I've had all these issues, and I thought, well, at least I've got like records of it so I can document it. The external hard drive was supposed to be my backup of all of those files, because I don't have enough storage on my Mac. I don't have enough storage on my phone. Like where I was changing cameras each time, obviously the memory cards were being formatted each time when I was sending them back. So I was like, okay, I put them all on this hard drive. And then the hard drive was like, nah. Delete them all. Which I went back on where I bought it from, and there was a review, and so the same thing had happened to somebody else. So I am going to return it and buy a new one. But you know when you're just like, mate, are you kidding me? Yeah. So I was like, great, so now I have to literally start from scratch. Everything. I had all these different clips. It's all gone. Hopefully I will learn from my mistakes. And not keep buying non-named brands, I guess. Especially when it comes to technology. I'm not normally like a brand person, but I think when it comes to things like technology, I do need to invest a bit more. So yeah, that's the story. So now I'm starting again with trying to film this and get used to talking. I feel so silly. Oh my God, I'm so tired. I haven't even done anything and I'm so tired already. Basically, so like my next few videos is probably mostly going to be me trying to finish some of my projects, and I might just have a chat with you as I'm doing those. I desperately want to dye my hair. I've been putting it off because of this whole like I wanted to video it. I've been putting it off for the last few weeks. I mean, and it's been needing to be done for months, but I really wanted to do it, and so hopefully, yeah, I'm going to do that in the next few weeks as well. Finally dye my hair. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm so bored of this colour. Yeah, so what I might do, now that I've had a nice rant and I've barely done anything on this, I think I might chill out and watch some YouTube. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit.